Hey guys, and welcome to Serious Sam Classics Revolution. Today we will be playing the 4th level of the first encounter, namely the Valley of the Kings, and this is where the game kind of goes, yeah, stop. Just stop. You've played long enough. Now it's time we start murdering you properly. And it starts off in this rather large area over here. Now this battle's kind of mean. If you don't know how it works, then you might actually get overrun pretty quickly. The way these enemy spawns work is that every time there's a singular enemy which spawns the next wave. So if you kill that enemy, immediately the next wave will spawn, and I believe it's either this one or the other Rocketeer. Either way, just leave the Rocketeers alone for a while, so you can carefully do it. The next wave will spawn after you kill that green little dude over there, and he takes about a year to get to you, so you might as well kill the other guys first so you don't get scared by the oncoming onslaught of a rather irritating bull, which is a lot easier to kill if you don't have to deal with even more clear skeletons. So here you go. That's the sound of the bull I just mentioned. And it's also, well, roughly the sound of the last wave that we have to deal with here for a while, so we don't really need to worry about killing specific enemies anymore, which is nice. Probably should be using my shotgun on that guy, but you know, the knife. It's such a great weapon, but simultaneously, the double-barreled shotgun is practically made for killing bulls. I will actually be kind of careful with my rocket launcher ammo during this level because I'm kind of scared of the level that's coming up, and therefore I might be using some rather strange strategies to make sure that I'm going to have a rather nice amount of rocket launcher ammo to start the next level with. Now, we got some shotgun ammo over there, it's irrelevant, but we got this thing which spawns more friends. And naturally, we are still trying to kill as many enemies as possible. We will be missing 4 enemies in this level because 4 of them don't spawn on this difficulty, unfortunately. But they do get counted. If you want to know more about serious enemy counters, I made a separate video about that, and it's very, very exciting if you like numbers. It even has numbers in the thumbnail. But we're going to move on in this direction where kamikazes come out of nowhere, try to annihilate us as they often do. I also sort of figured out how fire works, I think, because at least the way that I'm thinking it works would explain why kamikazes and the marsh hoppers don't properly set you on fire, because it is actually possible to catch fire and still not take damage. But I think the way it works is that an enemy just has to touch you for a certain amount of time, and the longer it touches you, the more on fire you are. Also, after killing that bull, a bunch of blue robots spawn. We'll have to deal with those now, I guess. But the longer you touch one, the more damage you seem to take from the fire. So that's why enemies like kamikazes and marsh hoppers, that's why they don't really work for that, because they instantly explode the moment they touch you, usually. But other enemies, like the clear skeletons, are still rather nasty, but simultaneously you still can get the effect where you are on fire, but you're not actually taking damage because they just jump past you or something like that, which is kind of interesting. With ice, it doesn't work that way. With ice, it's either you're slippery or you're not. There is no in-between on that one, it seems, which is sad. Now, on any other difficulty, I'd just use 5 rockets because 1 rocket would be enough to kill one of these guys, but again, I Am Ugh-Zan does not play by them rules, and there is a lot of shotgun ammo on this level, so we might as well use as much as possible, seeing as these guys aren't really that much of a threat anyway. After killing those guys, that green dude spawns all the way over yonder, a reptiloid, I believe its name is, and reptiloids are scum. They are just the worst, so we will be killing him as quickly as possible. The main reason why they are just the worst is because their range is infinite. The moment that one of them sees you, he will attack you, even if it's from the other side of the goddamn level. So if you are getting shot at by one of those guys, you probably just want to kill him immediately, because his attacks are kind of homing. And I do say kind of homing because it doesn't always work. Sometimes it just goes in the air and then flies into circles. It's actually quite odd when that happens. But they are nasty. They are one of the more nasty enemies if they're in large open spaces like this one. Actually using that guy to make his friend shoot at him. But I probably will start switching to the rocket launcher in just a second to deal with the other one, because he's a little bit close, and dealing with these guys at close range isn't great if they happen to shoot next to you or something like that. And when they die, they do shoot another rocket as well, which is rather scary. And after killing those guys, another swarm of marsh hoppers spawn, because of course it does. And then we have a moment of silence. So this level has about 320 20 enemies, I believe. A third of those enemies are in this area. It's actually quite insane, seeing as the level is quite large. It is quite a large level, but somehow they managed to stick 1/3 of the level's enemies all in this singular area over here. Obviously, adding marsh hoppers to any area is going to make the enemy count quite large, just because you need so many of them to be like a viable enemy, because they die usually in 1 hit on this difficulty in 2, but still they're not actually like scary at all. So it's obvious that this area will have a lot more enemies because of it, but still, seeing as it's just like one area, you'd expect it not to have a third of the enemies of the entire level, but there you go. I'm climbing up here because there's an armor thing. And obviously I'm only picking this up because it spawns more friends. Spawns 3 harpies, 2 clear skeletonins, and I mean, they're not really much of a threat, honestly, but these harpies are a little bit different from the ones we faced so far. The ones we faced so far never actually went to the ground when we shot them. These ones actually do. I'm not actually sure if that's just because I'm shooting these with a shotgun or not, and the other ones I shot with like pistols and things, but either way, it's something you need to be aware of, that it's a possibility, because this is a little bit more easy to take care of, because they don't fly anymore, and when they don't fly, they actually don't move as fast anymore, and they also cannot shoot you from an angle upward, so you don't really need to move as much, and they don't really use their melee attack anymore. Like, they're a lot less fearsome that way, and I like it. What am I scared of right now? I am scared of a kamikaze. That's the one. I briefly knew that there was something here, but I couldn't quite remember what it was. But it's a bunch of bastards. Now I remember. Again, more harpies, more bulls, more bastards, but all in all, nothing to be super scared of or anything. Not like we can't outrun or anything. Plus, the bull's on our side from time to time, and it just goes wherever it damn well feels like going. And also, we have a really, really large open area to work with, so it doesn't really matter too much what we do. I also don't really want to use all of my, like, Tommy gun ammo, because obviously we haven't found the non-secret Tommy gun yet, so ammo is going to be scarce, and, you know, it's nice to have Tommy gun ammo just in reserve, because it's just a really, really nice gun for several occasions. Largely guys like the kamikazes, because you can stun them by shooting them once and then you can walk away a bit. But also marsh hoppers and also other such enemies, which don't really take that much fire to kill, but a pistol is just too slow, you know? There's just a lot of situations where it's just a really, really nice gun to have, and because of that, I don't really want to waste it too much. But killing that green reptiloid at the start seems like a pretty good time to use it, and stuff like that. Stuff that just as like really, really far away but can still damage me is usually a good thing to use it on, because it has hit scan weaponry. So it is hit scan weaponry, in fact, and the bullet just arrives, and that's nice. So there's a statue over there. We're going to shoot in that direction to kill his worshipper. Sure, worshipper. Let's go with that. But also, we wanted to actually destroy every statue in the level, because there is a secret area in this level which requires you to shoot all statues. There are 4 secret areas in this level, and they all are pretty much activated at the very end of the level, but this one is throughout the entire thing. Now, there's a couple of ways you can deal with this next situation. I'm going to shoot 4 rockets in that direction, and then just keep shooting after picking up the rocket launcher. And then we shoot another 10 rockets, and then he should be dead. I think I counted that right, yeah. And then he shoots once. These things are quite scary. They actually deal a lot of damage. He is one of the more scary reptiloids. There's not that many of them, fortunately, in the entire game, honestly. There's only like a handful. I wanted to say an exact number, but then I actually realized I don't know how many there are. But yeah, they are big scaries. They are not really the kind of people you want to be dealing with, and the more easily you can kill them, the better. There is actually another way where you don't even need to use the rocket launcher to kill that guy, but it's a little bit silly. And with a little bit, I mean a lot silly. It's not really. It's something I want to try and avoid during this video series. But what you can do is you grab the rocket launcher and you immediately run here, like right next to the pillar, and then you just go, eh? And then he slowly like walks towards you, but he never actually comes close enough to you that he starts doing his melee attack, and his melee attack is just insta-kill, so you don't really want to get hit by that. But then his like arms stick out, and you can just shoot his arms from here, and there's nothing he can do to kill you, and it's hilarious. It is hilarious, but I want to try and avoid stuff like that for this playthrough. So, going over here, there is an Ankh on the thing. There's a purple dude over there. I walk to the left so this dude doesn't see me in the middle of the cutscene, because they run back and forth a lot, and quite frankly, they just ruin the atmosphere of the entire cutscene. If we move into the room and then move out again, we spawn a couple more dudes. One of them is that purple guy, who is now in the water, which is possibly a problem, and I don't know. And then there's... oh, he drowned. Cool. That might have actually been good. But it also spawns that arachnoid, which is actually not a female. I actually thought this was a female creature for my life. I don't know why, but for some reason I always just called them her, and apparently they're... I don't know. I don't think they're actually gendered at all. So there you go. We all learned a thing or two after actually bothering to read enemy descriptions after all this time. So we got some choices. We can either go that way or we can go that way, and we're going this way first because it's the easier way. There is a clear skeleton over here. He's not too much of a threat though. And moving in a little bit further, we are going to spawn a few more clear skeletons, which is great. But we don't spawn nearly as many clear skeletons as we do on the other side, which is why we're taking care of this side first. And we're going to waste a bunch of rockets dealing with the other side, because the other side is just a nasty place. It's nice that the game gave you a rocket launcher at this point as well, because it makes it a lot more viable to use the rocket launcher for situations like that. Now you may have heard that noise. That means there's another arachnoid. This one's over there. I believe this one actually walks towards us, yeah. Which is fine. This is fine. Just try to use their melee attack. As long as you just stay close enough to them, they actually, like, walk towards you and try to hit you with their melee attack, but if you just do it right, then they won't actually ever use it. So there's a green thing coming out of the wall over there. That's quite unusual. He is attached to a man who shoots more green balls, and I will be using the rocket launcher on this guy. You can just shoot him like this with the pistol as well, but it takes about a year to kill him, and I'm not about that life anymore. Not about that life anymore. One more should do it. It's 4 rockets on this difficulty, and I forget sometimes. And there's another dude waiting for us over there. He may not see us, but he can feel our pistol, and that is just lovely. So there's 2 switches, and they both lower the Ankh platform just by a little bit. And now we can either choose to just jump, because this is a slanted, sloped area, and if you jump on a sloped area, you jump a little bit higher, and you actually just grab the Ankh, and it just, you know, it's just good, isn't it? But we're still going to do this room because there's more enemies to be spawned. When we walk into the room, we can hear the lovely sounds of a really quite irritatingly large amount of clear skeletons, and I don't want to deal with it. So we're just going to shoot a bunch of rockets in that direction. Apparently we killed a rocketeer as well, which is just great. And simultaneously, I don't really want to walk like outside, because naturally there's 2 arachnoids just waiting for us right now, which is just great. Look, there's the other one. Fortunately, there is a lot of shotgun ammo over here. 60 more bullets. It says 40, but we grabbed 60. Don't worry about it. And we can just do this for a bit, which is pretty cool. It's kind of the same strategy that I was talking about with the rather large Reptiloid, the Reptiloid Highlander, I believe its name is. And that's just great. Gonna pick this up, press the button again to lower the thing just for the sake of novelty. It doesn't really do anything. Doesn't even spawn anything, I don't think. Like, I don't think pressing the buttons actually spawns anything at all. Now this dude, hilariously enough, his gun is on the other arm. So it technically can't see us right now, even though we're right in front of it. But even if it saw us, it wouldn't be able to actually fire at us at all, just because this wall would be in the way of its gun. Which, interesting. Very interesting. Alright, I'm gonna jump in the water. Water is always great. There's a particular enemy that resides in the water, also known as fish bastards. Everyone calls them that because they're bastards and they're fish. And they attack with an electricity attack. They do need to get close enough to use that attack, and it seems random what the required distance is. I'm honestly not sure. Sometimes they stop right in your face, other times they don't. I'm not really sure how it works, but either way, the way their damage works is kind of relevant, because the closer they are to you when they do their attack, the more damage it deals. Which means that if you just keep swimming backwards, their damage is usually not that bad. If you swim towards them, you can die in a hit, which is bad. And generally it's nice to just have a Tommy gun and avoid their nonsense altogether, because then you don't have to deal with it. There's a sleeping arachnoid over here, and we can wake it in a variety of ways. This one wakes up regardless of what you do. Like, if you just keep walking, it doesn't just stay asleep, it just wakes up. So that's just smelly pants right there. But we have a knife, and the knife works perfectly. But it would have been cool if you could just like sneak around it and just move on. But there is unfortunately a big green invisible rectangle over here which tells it to wake up as well. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I don't know. What we're gonna do is shoot some more clear skeletons who are stuck behind walls and pillars. And am I... Okay. Not on fire. Alright, sure, game. I completely accept that because I haven't saved yet and I don't mind, but I'm not sure I fully understand why I'm currently not on fire. But sure, whatever you say, game. Whatever you say. I'm actually going to quick save here because this is like the point where the game starts getting hard and I don't really feel like doing entire levels all over again. So if I suddenly reappear here and casually act like I didn't die, I did. I definitely did. So... quite predictably, I died, because I said I would, and I am a man of my word. But yeah, there are some fairly difficult parts about this level. One of them is this room, although it's not that bad. But that guy in particular, that red dude over there, he can actually deal with a fairly large amount of damage, because he spawns behind you. And that's one of the great themes this level has decided to introduce, which is dudes spawning behind you at awkward moments. And it even, like, waits a couple of seconds before spawning him as well, so you don't immediately realize he's there, and then you get shot by him, like, 3 times. And that can deal about 36 damage if you don't have armor, and obviously you kind of want to avoid that. Also, there's another red dude over there, but, you know. There's clear skeletons afoot, and we must destroy them all one by one. And everything will be okay afterwards. That guy was actually quite close. Usually, this guy doesn't actually run towards you until you actually go all the way over here, because he's over there, but this guy was feeling it. This guy was feeling it indeed. Now the next room is where I died previously. You guys didn't get to see that. But because of that, I'm quick saving again. Because it's an awkward room. It's actually really quite an awkward room. So there's 2 Gnars and a Bomberman. I actually don't know what their name is, but he throws bombs. Killing the 2 Gnars will open the door and spawn 2 clear skeletons who are actually kind of fiddly. And they were also the reason I just died, so, you know, good on him. Then there's this dude as well. And we don't really have that much room to move. You might have noticed the sudden abundance of marsh hoppers that is, like, exploring all the possible cavities of this room. And the reason for that is because they all spawned in the previous room, and it's also the reason why I tried to run out of that room as quickly as possible. There was also a Gnar there that was just flying after a while. That's just a great noise to talk during. Stop. Just shit it. But, yeah. The thing about this place is, if one of these clear skeletons is on fire, the ones that spawn on this side, there's a reasonable chance you're gonna die, and that's exactly what I did. Because they both run out of this door, jump at you, or not. It's kinda like your positioning needs to be pretty damn good for them to not jump at you. And then you might just catch fire and die. You can't really go through that door because that's where all the marsh hoppers spawn, and also this bastard. Like that singular clear skeleton over there. And this is one of those instances where I am on fire, but it's not damaging me because it just didn't touch me long enough, I guess. I'm still guessing that's the reason, like, I don't take damage there, but I'm honestly not 100% sure, but whatever. It's a nasty room, and it's very easy to die in. Also, there's 100 health down there. I'll be coming back to that later. Also, we still have to destroy all the statues, so shoot another rocket. You need to be a little bit careful with your rockets just for that reason as well, because you can't easily go back to every statue in the level. So be careful about that. Then we shoot that guy, and we grab this nice, safe 1 health power-up, which is totally safe and not trapped at all. It's actually quite hidden as well, and it's not even a secret area, it's just a thing that spawns 2 dudes. And now I'm going to quickly check how many enemies I'm at, because I believe I'm actually missing one. And that is actually quite unusual, but it's one of those things that happens in this room in particular. It sometimes has like a frog or whatever. Yeah, like this dude. It just randomly decides to get stuck in the corner over there. And it's been one of the reasons why I've had to record this level about 19 times already, because man, this is just a nasty level in so many ways, and it just keeps sneaking up more new ways to just hurt your feelings. But we're gonna go down, kill that dude that spawns again behind you. It likes spawning red dudes behind you in this level because it works. It deals not that much damage, but when you only have that much health to work with, it hurts a lot. It hurts your feelings and your emotions. Oh, and then there's stuff like this where there's just these dudes everywhere. And if they're on fire, then again, you just sort of die, and it's not great. So, another statue. Gotta break it, obviously. Gonna keep the fires alive so we can see. And if we walk in this direction, that dude spawns. And this dude's one of those people that just really, really wants to kill you. And if you sort of stay down there, it'll just jump on your head. It's actually quite weird looking. But it's not exactly the kind of enemy you want to wear as a hat. So, avoiding that, we are just going to make sure that that enemy dies. So we don't have to deal with it. I feel like an enemy went up there. I don't think it did, but it looked like someone went to the right, and now I'm scared. So I'm just, you know, just quickly, it's probably nothing. It's probably just my rampant imagination running loose upon this level of horrendous torture. So, we got two choices. Going that way is the good way, going this way is a way that's entirely optional and doesn't give you anything but more enemies to deal with. One of which is a Eclipse's cousin, over there. If that one's on fire, you want to use rockets. If it's not on fire, like he currently is, then there's really no reason to use a rocket on this particular dude. But when he is on fire, as you can see, you don't really have that much room to work with. And the reason why I kind of did weird jumps as well is because there's a dude over there that spawns when you go into the room. Because of course it does, because this level is a sneaky Pete and it doesn't like you. So this is reflective floor. And reflective floor in the Serious Sam games have one common attribute, which is it's really, really freaking slippery. And it's actually not great. And I think this is actually where they got the like movement effect from, where like when you get an ice enemy to touch you. There is, however, another statue here, so I guess it's not entirely optional, but I think you can just shoot a rocket from like down here, like shoot and then just shoot from there, and you don't even need to go into the room, and you don't need to deal with anything. But there is some things here. One is this ancient papyrus, and it tells you about the mountains of the moon. That's really all it tells you. It tells you that they exist, which is great. And then there's some armor over here. Going over here spawns some more clear skeletons. I will actually be shooting rockets in that direction. You don't really need to, because I'm standing on this like raised platform up here. But then these guys have a tendency of doing nonsense like that, where they just suddenly jump the height of the moon. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. It's kind of hard to tell what they're gonna do. Scooby-Doo. But if you do it right, like if you just sort of stand over here, like on the edge, and just crouch, usually they don't do that weird high jump, and then you can just knife them all. But again, it's one of those strategies where I feel like people are going to complain. So I don't really want to deal with that. Our health is a little bit on the low side right now, though. I don't know if I actually picked up that health over there, and I fortunately didn't, so I can actually grab that now. Because there's more nastiness approaching us. There's more nastiness on the way, and we are going to deal with it carefully. Ish, we're gonna just deal with it with a lot of rockets, really. There is a red arachnoid there. You might not have seen him immediately, but she was there all this time. He, she, they? I think that's right. And you wanna shoot that one with rockets in particular, because you can't really run back. Because of course you can't, because this is the level where enemies spawn behind you, and you should know that by now. You may have seen a clear skeleton run from this direction, you may not have, but if you do run all the way back here, hey, look, good, it's an arachnoid. Just exactly the kind of thing we wanted to be dealing with. And even further back is an enemy you'll never actually encounter, because he's way too far, like, backwards. Like, there is no discernible way where you would ever want to fight this dude unless you're trying to kill all enemies. And he just spawns behind that arachnoid, where there's nothing there. I mean, the only time you want to go back there is, I guess, if you didn't pick up the health power up earlier. So it's just, I don't know what that guy is all about, but I think there's at least one person in the history of humankind who may have died, and everyone else probably doesn't even know he exists. So pressing this button, we just passed the wall of darkness. You might be able to see a black wall going up. It's right there, as you can see. In the HD remake, you can actually shoot through these like grate things, and you can just shoot in that direction. In this one you can't, because you can't shoot through it. There's some other things you can do. I'm actually going to stand over here to make it like just a little bit easier on myself, because there's a bunch of enemies that are like behind this wall, and in a second you'll see it lower, because you see my like bullet holes go down. And the reason why I'm standing like against this wall is because these guys are told by markers where to go, and the markers tell them, hey, look over here somewhere, yeah? And because we waited in that particular corner, there's a bunch of clear skeletons over here now, and we can deal with them in more reasonable numbers. You do need to be a little bit more careful, obviously, because there's still a big black darkness thing over there where it's kind of hard to see anything when it's impossible to look through. But at least we can deal with them in slightly more reasonable numbers this way. You can also just shoot a bunch of rockets in their direction, which obviously works quite well as well, and it's probably the more intended way of doing things, just shooting rockets at the darkness, but I don't want to shoot missiles at the darkness, and instead, we're just going to take it slow. Going to take it slow and carefully. There is one clear skeleton there who's on fire, and I know that he's walking against that wall, and I don't like it. Oh, there he is. There's our friend. The mastermind behind the whole operation of trying to kill us. But we did it. And now we don't need to worry about him anymore. I didn't pick up this health power up earlier because I felt like I was going to take damage, and somehow I did. But somehow I took like a weird number of damage. Did I have armor? I guess I had armor, yeah. I had 25 armor. Never mind, it's not odd anymore. Everything makes sense now. So, in lieu of people spawning behind you, there's more enemies spawning behind you over here. Got 2 red dudes, and they're actually more scary than the kamikaze that are running towards us somehow, which is an unusual moment in life. But if you focus entirely on the kamikazes there, they'll shoot you like 3 or 4 times, and they end up doing more damage than the kamikazes themselves. So it's not great. It's not great, honestly. It's not a fun times. Not a fun times at all. So earlier, I mentioned, hey, a 100 health power-up. At least I think I did. I hope I did. I might have forgotten. I might have done that in the recording where I died. But either way, there was a 100 health power-up visible in the room with all the marsh hoppers and stuff. Yeah, I must have said that later. Yeah, I probably said that in the video. And if I didn't, hey, look, you can look up, and it's the room where the marsh hoppers were, and it's now we're here. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Isn't that just swell? Come on, you ugly freaks. And now we are going to be fighting here for a while. You can't actually continue until you've picked up that heart. Immediately get hurt by the first enemy that actually attacks you at all here, which is pretty great. But pretty much just walk in circles and fire your shotgun is a pretty good way to go. Still watch out for the fire, obviously. You can't just walk all willy-nilly because you'll catch fire and die, and you'll have died to purple dudes, which is the second worst thing you could possibly die to, first being those secret area guys in the first level, but it's up there. It is not a kind of thing you want to die to, so be careful, but shoot them with a shotgun. It works.
Seriously, is that the best you can do?
So Sam taunts, we wait over here. We're going to shoot them because otherwise they're going to walk in circles around this thing. I don't want them to do that. I'm actually going to shoot a bunch of rockets in this direction now because they don't like me. They don't like me at all. I shot myself with the rocket just now. Okay, it all worked out. It all worked out somehow. But it's nice to have dealt with most of the clear skeletons before the door opens again, because when the door opens, they lunge at you, and that's bad. So you might have heard gunfire. It comes from that one. But it's an enemy that can't move. Isn't that just swell? I think I could probably just stand here, actually, yeah. I'll just stand here and shoot him with a shotgun for a while. I plan on just sort of going back and forth a lot, but this is just the easier way of doing it. It's probably actually better to do it with a normal shotgun, because its spread is smaller, and therefore it will hit more precisely. Alright, so first of all, I'm gonna close this door. Does nothing except infuriate multiplayer partners, but other than that, it's just, pretty fun. There's a button there. I actually don't know why that button's there, because there's no enemies that spawn behind there anymore either. And there's some spikes here. Quick save. Now, those spikes, they're not very good at their job, because it goes down, but not far enough immediately, and then it, for some reason, it gets stuck in the water for a bit, and then it goes all the way down. So because we picked up the Ankh, we can't actually just continue onwards with the level, but there's still some enemies we haven't killed, plus there is another statue that we still need to destroy for the secret area, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now this button, it makes the spikes go away, which is great. It makes picking up the Ankh a lot safer, and it means you don't have to die if you're playing on multiplayer and someone else pick up the Ankh and you still want to pick it up or something. Destroy the statue, and now you might hear the sounds of a clear skeleton. There's actually 3, and we're going to take care of them one by one. Because if any one of these bosses is on fire, then I die. So I don't want that. I don't want that to happen. So we're doing it carefully. Hey, look at that. One's on fire. No fun. Now, the neat thing about retracting the spikes after getting the Ankh, which is obviously not the intended order, is that even though the spikes are gone, you can still die to them, which it's pretty good. The real reason why I wanted to show you that, though, is just so I can have a quick save for this next room. That's the real reason. No, that is the right door. It just didn't open for some reason. This door is a bit weird sometimes. I don't know why. So this is the first non-secret area where you get a Tommy gun. And it also starts a rather nasty battle. If you stand... Well, if you grab the Tommy gun and you just stand still, then it's a tough battle. If you stand near enough anywhere else, like we're just going to stand over here, this battle's not so bad. Because that thing in the middle opens and starts spawning a bunch of things. And it also starts spawning a bunch of marsh hoppers over here. But because we are standing behind this pillar, or literally any other pillar in this entire area, it is so easy to make this battle a lot easier on yourself. Because we're standing here, the ones in the middle of the room aren't actually going towards us, so we can deal with these numbers a lot easier. Plus, there's a bunch of clear skeletons that spawn the moment you kill, like, one of the dudes that spawns in the middle. And because we dealt with all of those first, we don't need to worry about those guys anymore. Plus, we can deal with a lot of these guys at once by just shooting a rocket right here. Right here. That's the sound of winning. That's the sound of a lot of marsh hoppers dying in a single shot, and it's glorious. Now, these are the clear skeletons I was previously speaking about, and they will now all just die fairly easily. Usually they would spawn somewhere in the middle of the battle with the marsh hoppers, but because we all killed them pretty much instantly, they weren't there anymore. Plus, I had like a long monologue about clear skeletons while standing over there, because it actually takes a while before all of the marsh hoppers are spawned. But doing it that way, it actually doesn't matter too much. Now, I should have killed 320 enemies. If I didn't, I'm mad, but I'm actually quite pleased that I did. So, we're gonna grab 4 secret areas now. First of which is over here. Run at this at full speed, sort of in the middle. Otherwise, that happens, and sometimes you take falling damage. For some reason, I didn't just now. But this thing is fiddly. You need to really be in the middle, otherwise you just fall off. If you do it with too low a speed, you just fly through the room without ever getting enough height to actually grab this thing, but... once you grab it, you get the secret armor. Took falling damage even though I jumped, so I don't even know how it works. I'm gonna be honest, it's just weird. We're gonna watch this little cutscene of us walking towards the 3rd element, which, obviously, this is the fire element. I can tell, because it is a big yellow triangle, and triangles are usually the shape of fire. And it's also glowing in a fiery way, which is really quite telling of the fire element. Yeah? And it tells you to go there. Now, the real reason why I know it's the fire element is because if you stand here, it like over here, yeah, it says fire element. I don't know why. I genuinely can't find the trigger in the level editor that does that, but it does, and it's good. So there's 2 more statues to deal with, but first we are just gonna go into this nice looking area. If we cross over this bridge, Sam says no because it'll break and you'll fall in the water and go to the next level. And there's a bunch of rockets over here, and there's a pendulum. This thing's not in the HD version, I do believe. I think this thing's been replaced by a teleporter because it works on physics. You can shoot the pendulum with a rocket launcher and then it becomes free and you can go to the other side using it, or you can destroy all statues. Boom! All statues destroyed. Secret pendulum has been released. Both of those messages count as a secret area. Quick save. I'm scared of this jump. And using the pendulum to get to the other side, kind of tricky. This thing's physicsy as hell, and you can actually shoot it to go faster as well with near enough any gun, which is pretty cool. But this thing has been removed in the HD remake. I guess they couldn't like replicate this or something because the engine in that game is a bit odd. But doing this leads you to the other side of the bridge, which is, for as far as I know, the only way to get to this other side, and that is secret number 4, which is a secret level, something that only this Serious Sam game ever did, I think. And that grants us the 4th secret, and is the end of the Valley of the Kings, and it takes us to the Moon Mountains, which is what we are going to be doing next time. So I hope you enjoyed it so far, and the next time we play, we are going to go to the Moon Mountains, which are told in legend by a papyrus that we read and said nothing else. Apparently this is the source of the Nile. Who would have thunk it? Hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.